what da danyo, what da dine, and go danyo, what da dine. This is the Black Pot, aka Kukushudumo, where we speak truth to power, and I'm most excited to be with you. Now, here we don't criticize, but if we must criticize, we'll just do it on one condition: to build and not to destroy. That is why we say we are in the service of God and country. This is the voice of the people, and the voice of the people is the voice of God. Now, the very first story I'm taking from the newsreel, which we always endeavor to keep real. It's taken from City Newsroom, and it says, Ghanaians prefer to tolerate and celebrate foolish people. Frisbafo. Ghanaians prefer to celebrate foolish people. And this is Frisbafo speaking. I read. Legendary Ghanaian actor, journalist, and former information minister Frisbafo has made a staggering claim that Ghanaians only prefer to celebrate foolish people. On June 6, 2024, the most celebrated Ghanaian photographer, James Bano, will be 95 years old, and he is in Ghana to mark this milestone with the James Bano 95 Festival. Now, the James Bano 95 Festival is a celebration of cultural heritage and artistic innovation. While paying homage to the iconic photographer, he also aims for a long-term impact on the Ghanaian arts and cultural scene. Now, born in Ghana in 1929, 10 years after Kwame Nkrumah was born, James Bano opened his renowned ever-young studio in Accra, where he immortalized our nation at the moment of its independence. He is the first photographer journalist to collaborate with a daily graphic published in Ghana by London's Daily Mirror Group. At a press soiree held at the Ghana Club in Accra on Friday, I beg your pardon, May 31, James Bano unveiled the James Bano 95 Festival. Activities to commemorate the festival include exhibitions, screenings, and concerts. Now, speaking on City TV at the press soiree monitored by Ghana Weekend, Frisbafo, who was one of the special guests at the event, stated that James Bano has not been celebrated well enough. According to the legendary actor, Ghanaians, we have not celebrated our icons enough. We turn out to be more concerned about politics and other mundane matters than celebrating the good that we have. This is a great country. When you talk about Ghana, you talk about the people. We talk about what we have, culture, our traditions. This is Ghana. So when we have people who are highlighting that very powerful part of us, we celebrated them, but we don't. We celebrate fools, foolish people, people who have not achieved anything. We celebrate people who are like fireflies. Instead, people who shine the light all their lives, like this man who is 95 years old and is still making and encouraging people to do the right thing, are not celebrated. Frisbafo has spoken. He says that Ghanaians are very interested in celebrating foolish people and foolishness. Ghanaians are overly interested in politics and other mundane activities. My brother, my sister, Frisbafo has spoken. Now, he himself is a journalist, acclaimed one for that matter. He's also a comedian. In fact, the very first stand-up comedian Ghana has ever had. My brother, my sister, Frisbafo says that Ghanaians are very interested in celebrating foolish people. In fact, I have been very careful to draw a blanket statement like this. Unfortunately, it is true. Ghanaians are not interested in celebrating loyalty, heritage, and brain We are only interested in celebrating foolishness. My brother, my sister, the history of this country has been so checkered. In this country, people who are doing their very best to see us climb up the ladder of prosperity and ingenuity are those that are regarded the least. Now, Ghanaians hate to see a man who is on top for long. They want to quickly remove you and replace you. They do not care whether they have a replacement for you or not. Anybody up there is okay for them. You have stayed there for too long. Calm down. You are not the only human being. As if they will go and tell God that he has ruled the world for too long. It's time for God to be unseated so that somebody else will take the place of God. If they had the power, they would do that, Ghanaians. How many of us have realized that about Ghanaians? We do not like to celebrate heroes. We are so much in a hurry to replace them and put in square pegs in round holes. We will celebrate these immature replacements. And before we realize, we are dragging the nation down the line. We don't care. We are the same people who in no time will start complaining. Why is the country going down? Yet we forget that we are celebrating fools, electing fools and thieves into power and office. In Ghana, we hate it when you are loyal to the nation. In Ghana, we hate it when you try to be honest. They tell you it's not your father's job. This work is not for your father. Please, why? Are you the only one who goes to church? They will discourage you from the moment you want to be honest. How many great Ghanaians left England and America and made their way to Ghana to help the nation develop, having learnt a lot from the West, only to be discouraged? And a lot of them have returned to England and America, and they are not ready to return to this country until they die. They've already booked graves because heritage-wise, culture-wise, it's good to be buried in this country. So we have changed this country and turned it into a graveyard. Living human beings do not live here anymore. It is dead bodies that are carted left, right, and center from the West to be planted here. Now let us look at who James Barnor is. From our independence, he's been our key photographer. From the days of black and white photography, he trained a lot of people. He captured a lot of the great images pre-independence that we have in this nation. In fact, he had a shop or an office right there at Circle that trained a lot of people from inside and outside Ghana. My brother, a great man like that deserves celebration. He is even still alive. How about those who died? Otuba Kuguano. My brother, my sister, where is Otuba Kuguano? Otuba Kuguano, born in 1700. What he did for this nation. He doesn't have a bust even at Ejumakon where he was born. Recently, England celebrated him. How many Ghanaians have even ever heard of Otuba Kwabena Kuguano? Let alone Paul Coffey. We don't celebrate our heroes. We celebrate fraudsters, porn stars, slave queens who show everything. They are those we celebrate. Go on social media. It's only fools who are trending. It's only fools we celebrate. In the words of the great Fritz Barfo, if we continue celebrating fools, our nation will gradually become a nation of fools. I'll leave it here. Next thing I would like to look at, and I want to be very quick with this, is coming from Ghana Web, and it says, it beats my mind how someone could stash so much money in their room. And this is Gamanche. Gamanche. Lenche. Onupa fefe. He's the one speaking. Gamanche says, and I quote, "It beats my mind how someone could stash so much money in their room." Eish. And this is on the Cecilia da Paz saga. I read, King Takiteku Churu II, the Gamanche, has criticized the government for its failure to combat corruption. Now, reacting to the former Minister of Sanitation, Cecilia Abana Paz cash at home saga, the traditional ruler expressed his disappointment at the persistent issue of corruption across successive governments. He insisted that the government must find a way to address the problem. It beats my mind how someone who says they love the country so much could stash so much money in their room. Corruption is everywhere. I believe that the government must find a way to stamp its authority against corruption. Gamanche ni Takiteku Churu II has spoken. What a name. Ni Takiteku Churu II. What a name. I love it. These are the names that I love. He says that it beats his imagination. It beats his mental acumen to have somebody stash so much money in their room. Yet the government is sitting down just watching everything and doing absolutely nothing. He says the government is so corrupt, and that successive governments have also been corrupt. But it beats his imagination how the government in power is doing next to nothing to be able to deal with this corruption thing. My brother, my sister, Gamanche has spoken. He has spoken. Need I say more? But he said something that touched me so much. He said, how can you claim you love this country so much, yet you stash so much money in your room? How can you say you love this country so much, yet you are utterly corrupt? That beats my imagination too. Because if you love it, you must protect it. If you love it, you must show that you love it. You can't love me and be causing me to hemorrhage at the same time. Gamanche has spoken. And Kwadwo Nkansah na you can't say Kwadwo Nkansah na kasa nyina asa. Kwadwo Dwarea na nsuo asa. Next thing I want to look at is taken from my own treenews.com, and it says Liwin arrested over accident that claimed life of 3-year-old. And I read, Ghanaian popular actor Kwadwo Nkansah, popularly known as Liwin, has been arrested by the Manchester Divisional Police Commander over his involvement in an accident that claimed the life of a 3-year-old. Now, the fatal accident occurred at Amakom in Kumasi on May 25, hours before the premiere of his movie, A Country Called Ghana, at the Noose Auditorium. Now, the actor was arrested as soon as he was discharged from the Kwadwo Nkansah Teaching Hospital. On Monday, that is today, he's likely to be processed for court. Nana Ya, I beg your pardon, Richard Nana Yao Ampofu Ampoma reportedly lost his life while receiving treatment at the Kwadwo Nkansah Teaching Hospital on Saturday, May 25, hours after the accident at Amakom in Kumasi. Nana Yao is reported to have occupied the front passenger seat of his father's vehicle when it collided with Liwin's branded Mercedes-Benz. Witnesses say the actor was driving at top speed, when the crash occurred. My brother, my sister, I know exactly what I want to say, but I don't know how to begin it. So I will begin it anyhow. Some of us fail to understand that it is the people who are making us who we are. Some of us fail to understand when we climb up the ladder that it is because of the people who are down there clapping for us and cheering us on that we are able to muster courage and go up there. A lot of us believe it is purely by might and power. My brother, my sister, I am so disappointed in Liwin, and I wouldn't want to judge him because he's a brethren of mine. I admire the fact that an illiterate, stark illiterate, who cannot spell Ghana, has been able to make a movie called A Country Called Ghana. I am so excited that a stark illiterate who cannot spell Liwin has been able to achieve this much and come this far. I applaud him. I am so excited that a former corpse carrier, a former undertaker. Liwin used to carry corpses. Did you know that? When people died in villages, they contacted Liwin, and he came to carry these dead bodies on his back all the way to the nearest hospital morgue. He said it himself in interviews. I admire such a guy, a former corpse carrier, former undertaker. He used to carry dead bodies on his bare back, carry them all the way to the morgue for preservation. Sometimes he carried them on bicycles. And the story he told brought tears into my eyes. He said there was a time around 2 a.m. a woman had died. And they needed to carry this woman all the way to the morgue. At the time, he had a bicycle. He went to carry the woman. He tied the woman to his back and rode the bicycle several tens of miles to the nearest morgue, to the point that little children even got to know that he was a corpse carrier. When they saw him, they ran away. But he's been able to endear himself to the people, my brother, and it's all because of the support of the people. Talent is not enough. We have many more people who are more talented than me, more talented than Liwin, yet they are not here. It's by grace and for some other reasons, except the fact that it is pure power and energy and hard work. I'm disappointed. Now, according to sources, Liwin was driving on top speed. And according to this write-up, he was on top speed. How do you drive on top speed at a place like Amakom? Do you know Amakom? Amakom is in the heart of the city of Kumasi. That's where I went to school. And I lived at Amakom, not too far away from Amakom, Akwetia line. That was where I lived, at Ali and Dauda. My brother, my sister, that was where I lived in Kumasi. Amakom is just a stone's throw. He was driving on top speed. There are even videos that show how he came out of a certain car wash on top speed. Now, carelessly, if these are all collaborated and corroborated, he drove into a man who was carrying his 3-year-old son. And if you look at the car, producer, see if you can put up a photograph of the damaged car. The whole car is totally damaged. The engine is nowhere to be found. It's gone. Now, the 3-year-old lost his life because of this accident. Let's even say that it was an accident and Liwin did not drive carelessly. My brother, he had the chance to go all the way to the hospital for treatment. He left the hospital and drove all the way to his movie premiere. Did he check out to see if the little boy was alive or dead? If he had some victims, and what was their condition? According to this write-up, a few hours, a couple of hours after they arrived at the hospital, the little boy died. It meant that Liwin did not do due diligence to find out if his victim was alive or dead. If this was Liwin's child, I am sure that he would temporarily stop the premier. Or better still, he would not even go there. But he did. He didn't care about a 3-year-old. And after that, he's been seen in public. He went to go church to thank God, my brother, my sister, for his life. How about the life of the little boy? Did he know at the time that he went to church that the little boy was dead? Yes, he did. They issued a press statement. And when you check the press statement, it's so sad. It's an apology of a press statement. If this was Liwin's child, do you think he would behave so carelessly and so nonchalantly? I am so disappointed at a former corpse carrier, former undertaker, stark illiterate, that God has been able to push you. The people have been able to push you to this level. We are happy for you. He's one of my favorite actors in Ghana. And I will say it everywhere. Amongst all these Kumawood actors, Liwin is #1 on my chart. I love him. And the brother is quite humble. He's been here a couple of times. And everywhere he meets you, he wants to make a joke, which is a nice thing. But in this case, I am so disappointed. Why is it that sometimes when the people push us to the top, we tend to use our power against the same people who pushed us up there? I pray that the police does due diligence. I pray that they go deep into this issue. Whoever has to be punished must be punished. It looks like our so-called celebrities, most of who died poor, begging the same people who pushed them up there, and they showed them so much disrespect. A lot of them died poor. You see their photos all over the place, begging the same people to come to their aid again. I'm not saying every entertainer who dies poor look down on the people. That's not what I'm saying. I pray that justice is done. I pray that the police will go deep into this, and I'm going to follow this issue very, very seriously. Life has been taken. Liwin, according to sources, was pressured to even cancel the Bruno Ahafo edition of his movie premiere. My brother, if you needed to be in a hurry, why did you not go in a police convoy? You could have asked the police to assist you. They will give you an envoy which you will pay for, and bram, everybody will leave the road for you to speed for as much as you want. I'm so disappointed, my brother. Now the last thing I want to look at, and I want to be quick with this. I'm reading this from the BBC. How many of us remember the former British High Commissioner to Ghana, Jon Benjamine? Please find me a photograph of Jon Benjamine. Better still, find a photograph of Black Rasta and Jon Benjamine together. John is spelled Jon, and Benjamin is Benjamin. So his John is spelled differently, Jon. Now, Jon Benjamine came to Ghana and revolutionized diplomacy. He brought diplomacy to our door fronts. In fact, he opened the doors of the British consulate to almost everybody. And I admired him so much for that. I was in America when he sent me a message and followed me on Twitter, even though for now he has unfollowed me for, reasons best known to me and him. My brother, my sister, he invited me to tea. We had tea together, and I will never forget that. I remember he told me, Black Rasta, I know that you are so authentic. Anytime you want to travel to England, so this is a photograph of me and Jon Benjamine. At the British High Commission, you can see the tab at the back. A fine gentleman. I said he followed me on Twitter whilst I was in the United States, and I couldn't believe that the British High Commissioner was following me. And when I came to Ghana, he followed up and said, Black Rasta, can you come over for tea? And I went. As I said, for now he has unfollowed me for reasons only me and him know. and I'm not ready to divulge it. Watch this. Jon Benjamine, my brother, my sister, went all the way to Chile. A nice, fine gentleman. He is the diplomat of all diplomats. He became the British consulate for Mexico. In fact, he invited me to come over. He told me, Black Rasta, you are so genuine. Anywhere you want to travel to around the world, if I can help with visas, I know that your band is a great band. I would facilitate it. That's what he told me. Even though I never traveled with my band, I'm sure if it was somebody, he would have gone there with 30 members. They are all my band people, including ghosts, lizards, and cockroaches. I wouldn't moralize it on anybody. Let me go to the point. Jon Benjamine seems to be removed from his post in Mexico because he brandished a gun, as reported by the BBC. He was in his car pointing a gun, a rifle. According to the BBC, it looked like a fully loaded rifle, pointing it at workers of the British consulate in Mexico. Now they see this as a serious offense. Why? Because Mexico is a country that is rife with violence, killing of people. And the week that Jon Benjamine did that, according to BBC, many people were gunned before that. And after that, I am sure many more people will be gunned down. It's a country that has a problem with drugs and much more. My brother, my sister. So they see this as a serious offense. It's a nation that is already suffering from gun abuse and so on and so forth. And you, a diplomat, you are holding a gun, brandishing it at your workers in a joke. This is a bad joke, according to the BBC. And the Home Office has decided to call him back. And according to the BBC, his name has been removed from the Mexico diplomat list. There's one thing I want to say. Jon Benjamine cannot always be correct. He's a fine gentleman. The best diplomat I have ever encountered in this country. Jon Benjamine will not always get it right because he's human. He loved to make jokes. We all laughed at his jokes on Twitter. And when he was leaving Ghana, he became one of the most celebrated diplomats from the British side. BBC reported it as well. We love Jon Benjamine. Why am I bringing this message out? So you get to know what is happening to our former diplomat. And two, that anybody can make a mistake. And when we make mistakes and we are called to book, we must face the bull by the horn. We must be accountable. Before he left this country, he told us Ghana must be accountable. Corrupt leaders have never ever been tried. He said it and jailed. I'm sure Jon Benjamine himself is ready to take the rap, and he shall return with more power, because a diplomat like that, his career shouldn't end this way. It should go higher.